but soon he will learn manners. I will torture his body so that his soul learns to be humble.
Okay, he know we just talking here, right? I mean, we just getting people interested in
Cage Against the Machine.
Yo, what's up, y'all? What's up? It's your boy, J.K. Akins, the man from Nampula, Mozambique, and I got my girl, Miss Danielle Cartier.
The infamous Boogie, what's going on?
Y'all better know, with the Mozambican menace.
That's right.
But get at us, by the way, Instagram.
You can Instagram, Twitter. If you're nice, you can be on my Facebook.
And you already know, at Cage Against. Don't forget that. On Twitter, on Instagram, holla at us.
You want to get whooped on fantasy?
Facebook.com/Cage Against the Machine on Facebook too.
That's right. You want to get whooped at fantasy? Come holla.
y'all already know Danielle are
I'll
always
make another
talking
shirt
about
for y'all.
Some fantasy stuff on fighting. I just can't do it.
That's not your life.
Nah. I am about that fantasy basketball though. you can bet that. That's for doggone sure.
That's a different day. I don't know about that.
See, it's so intricate and it's so.
That's how I feel about the fighting.
Complicated.
It's so intricate. It's so complicated.
You already know what we're here for. This is our podcast for UFC 215. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson versus Ray Borg.
That's right. And now you got to change Mighty
history.
Mouse. You got to change it to Mighty. He dropped the mouse. I'm going to miss it. The mouse is no longer in the house. But you have double title.
Here's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. Demetrius Johnson is going for mixed martial arts immortality.
Yes. Something that hasn't been done inside the UFC.
The man has 10 straight UFC flyweight title defenses. We may never see this again.
He may be his own record, though.
Yeah, well.
He'll keep going. Let's see where he stops. I'm excited. But first, he has to get past Ray Borg.
He has to get past Ray Borg.
What do you call himself? The Tasmanian Devil or something like that?
The Tex-Mexican Devil.
Yes, the Tex-Mexican Devil, which is very funny.
That's why I don't keep up with these damn nicknames. Some of these nicknames are just so ridiculous.
And I almost know every fighter by their nickname.
Yeah, I got nothing. So, we have to get your opinion on record before we start.
Okay, I'm excited.
John Jones. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who do not know, he was tested positive for a 30-year-old performance-enhancing drug, Turnable. Now, for those of you who do not know, Turnable is actually, back then in 1988 to 1987, was the designer performance-enhancing drug that the East German Olympic team used for the Seoul Olympics.
Back when it was hot. That was the hot ticket.
They had their own scientists actually create this performance-enhancing drug.
Wow. But you know what they say, if it works, don't fix it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are not old enough to remember the 1988 Olympics.
The children.
Obviously, Danielle and I are. This drug literally turned the East German women swimmers into men. They started growing facial hair. They had traps the size of Vernon Davis. They had arms that looked like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was crazy.
So now I'm wondering, because that was its effect on women with estrogen. So will it have the opposite effect on men because it's
exactly
progesterone?
Exactly.
Or because it's testosterone.
It jumpstarts testosterone.
Oh, I see. So it revs it.
Exactly.
Now, isn't that amazing that happened before the fight?
Now, in order to do it, right, in order to jumpstart testosterone, you must create an estrogen counteractive in order for the testosterone to jumpstart itself.
I see.
Which is why... Which is why
there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, and a lot of men who are cheating and caught cheating, most of them are using estrogen-based drugs, which is why they are considered performance enhancing because it kickstarts the testosterone.
Oh, I see. Now this has shed a lot of light on things, but then I'm wondering, does this have something to do with John Jones's affinity for what is his the penis pills or whatever? What is it?
There are a lot of questions out there.
Yes.
There are a lot of questions out there. And that's the reason why sexual enhancement and performance pills are illegal.
Right. So CSAC has his job cut out for it because there's a lot of questions and few answers. But at this point...
The California State Athletic Commission, ladies and gentlemen.
So, but at this point, I agree. I don't know. You saw Daniel Cormier's last comments about excluding John Jones from the GOAT debate because he's failed.
That's
at this point.
I think that is a fair point.
Yes.
Because now, at least in my personal estimation, you'll have to tell me how you feel. Mm-hmm. In my personal estimation, now I have questions as to how good he actually is.
That's right. And this is why I said, even before this fight happened, talking to other fans and talking to people who suddenly became interested in the sport, I said, before this even happened, I said, if John Jones fails another test, all of a sudden it brings into question his entire legacy.
Absolutely.
So who at the end of the day does John Jones really hurt? It's like you gain what? To lose your entire legacy. Like,
and
literally.
not only that, but I have to say, I feel terrible for Daniel Cormier. I feel absolutely terrible for him because as we remember the scene after he gets knocked out and how upset he was, when he left the cage, because he had no idea that he got knocked out.
Right.
Now you find out that you got knocked out by somebody who was juicing.
But there was, people remember the press conference and all that stuff. And what did Daniel Cormier say? He said, I think you've been cheating. I think you've been cheating the whole time. Mm-hmm. So, this was just his
It validates his point.
Yes. And really, to me, this is vindication.
Yes.
Because it's like, although you lost the battle, you didn't lose the war.
Right.
So this is vindication.
And did he even really lose the battle?
That's
at this
right.
point?
Did he really even lose the battle? Because at this point, everything is right. Everything is jaded. So
exactly.
There's nothing that involves John Jones that you feel like is valid anymore.
And this is the worst part for me. The worst part for me is the fact that this John Jones is the only guy that Daniel Cormier has ever lost to.
But has he really lost?
But and that's my point. So you had to juice in order to beat Daniel Cormier.
Yes, and really, this is just a sad,
not once but twice.
Yeah, this is just really a sad situation because John Jones, you've got to really seriously go back to rehab. You've got to look at your children. You've got to look at your wife, and you've got to realize that there's more to life than this sport of MMA. You've got to realize that the belt can be your entire life, that so much so that you are willing to do anything to get it.
See, here's the problem, Danielle. And you pose an absolute excellent point, right? But I think at this point, John Jones has shown the propensity to put his own personal interest above even his wife and his children.
Well, that's why when this came out...
And that might be unfair of me to say. That might be unfair of me to say. But I think that at this point, we have enough evidence to point to that.
Daniel Cormier, he's it's like, I love it because John Jones is see-through when it comes to Daniel Cormier because he's like, look at his behavior. His behavior has been showing for years and years and years. Like, you know, that he's had the audacity
Absolutely.
with the T-shirt and, you know, enjoy John Jones with the little Coke reference and stuff like this.
Absolutely.
This is somebody who's like, you know, emblazed and, you know, probably like a little bit of an egomaniac. The simple fact that you've been caught doing some terrible things and you've pretty much just rejoiced in those bad things, and
Absolutely.
people have embraced you in spite of.
Absolutely.
You know, and even though you humble in the win, because it's like you feel vindicated and you got what you wanted, but at what cost? At what cost? And that's why it makes you believe that this could be true, because you've seen the behavior and you've seen the
Absolutely.
desperation.
Absolutely.
And you know all the things that he lost. And I mean, you put somebody in that situation and people do start to think, well, I have to get it back at all costs.
Right.
And so desperate men do desperate things.
Absolutely. And can I point out a particular moment in time that to me I had questions? Was during the press conference prior, I want to say a couple of weeks prior to the fight, where John Jones and Daniel Cormier got into their normal verbal spat. And then John Jones says, I could snort a line of Coke and still beat you.
But see,
And when he said that, to me, I was kind of like, oh, is he using again?
and you know that before, like on some of the other podcasts and stuff, people who were in that
Well, I don't
MMA
think he ever
world-
stopped. I don't think he ever stopped.
They've
But-
alluded that like
Yeah.
he's fallen off
Yeah.
of the boat and all that kind of stuff. That he's kind of back to his old trick.
I don't think he ever stopped.
No, but you know,
Yeah.
At least you try to clean up for public appearances, and maybe you
Exactly.
do stuff behind doors. But
Exactly.
you know, when you kind of are in that circle and stuff, you do see, you know, fighters doing stuff, and they kind of relax because they kind of used to being in the public eye.
Right.
You know, so I'm more inclined to believe when people say, you know, they see stuff, because you do see stuff over and over and over again.
Right.
And that's how it starts to become a topic of conversation.
Final question for you, Danielle. Is it time for us to start looking at the Jackson Wink gym as a whole?
You know,
What do you think?
I think when you talk about these big, huge gyms and these reputations and the ability to make money off of your reputation, especially because you have all these kids and, you know, that's all income. And so at what point do you say, you know, we need to keep this legacy going? When do you start to turn the blind eye? When do you start passing cards and all this kind of stuff to make sure that people stay on top? You know, I'm sure we've seen it in boxing and all this kind of stuff. You see all this corruption. MMA is still young. So for a while, you know, we care about sportsmanship, you know, especially because from traditional martial arts and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like we talk about the evolution of the sport. This is another thing, you know, not everything that comes with evolution is good. Because now you start getting evolution and you start getting corruption.
Right.
Because now you're building these super powerhouse gyms.
Right.
Not just them. You have Team Alpha Male. You have the Black Zillions who already crashed and burned. So you see,
Now it's the Combat
now you
Club.
start to
Yep.
see all these things like implode. You know, but it's like you see everybody's going to Jackson Wink. All the other fighters, there's something in the water. There's some magic there, and then you start to think, well, what is there?
What is there in the water?
What is there?
Is there something?
Yeah.
Is there something tangible
But then
in the water?
You have Brazil. You have what's this? Uno Yao. Those big gyms over there.
Yeah, Nova
You know,
Yao.
Oh, that's right. And you have champions who've been champions for years and years and years. Then all of a sudden we have, you know, the drug people coming in, and all of a sudden everybody's losing. Everybody's losing. So we have super dominant champions. All of a
So now,
sudden,
yeah, Junior Dos Santos falls off the
Junior
wagon.
Dos Santos falls off the
Then
wagon.
we talk about
Jose Aldo falls off the wagon.
Yeah.
Rafael Dos Anjos falls off the wagon. All of a sudden, you see people bodies changing.
let's not forget Henan Barao.
And in Barral, you see everybody's body change. You know. So I mean, there's a lot of questions, and I mean, I'm telling you, when you go and you talk to fighters and stuff, even in passing, oh, well, what'd you think about that? What'd you think about this person? You know, during tough. Oh, you see their body, you see this, they were so dominant outside, but all of a sudden when they come in the house. So I mean, people pay attention because they want to see. You were so dominant, then all of a
Yeah,
sudden
how is it that you're not anymore?
that you're not all anymore.
Yeah,
How come now you're looking fat
yeah.
when you was super fit before? So it's
Yes.
like, even though we were slow to catch on, the fighters have been, you know, They see.
Well, as I've said in previous podcasts, as a man of science, the science will always be ahead of the testing. That's just the bottom line. Until we can come up with a system that moves as fast as the creation,
Yes.
this is what we will always be, which is what makes this John Jones situation so interesting, because he used a drug that was 30 years old.
So it wasn't like it was new technology.
No. But it moves through the system quick.
And maybe that's what people are banking on.
It moves through the system quick, and testosterone jumps with Turnbull. Everybody was saying, well, it wouldn't be effective because you have to have a sustained amount of the drug in your system in order for it to take effect. That is not the case with Turnbull. It moves in and out of your system in 48 hours for a reason. The point is for it to jumpstart your own testosterone. The testosterone that's already there, it is supposed to just increase it for a short amount of time, then run through your system.
So just a boost.
Yep.
Just a little bump.
Just a little shum.
Just a little bump.
You know, it's just like those little street racers that press that nice little button of nitrous oxide.
And you get what you need and you go.
Exactly.
But my question is, take John Jones out. Let's say this all goes bad and you have 10 years suspension. Your career's over.
Well, it's a minimum of 4 years for sure.
So minimum of 4 years.
Minimum of 4 years, which would put him at 33 years old. 33
years old. So where do we go from here?
I think that would effectively end his career.
I think so.
Or at least in the UFC. You may have to see him in Bellator because there's no way the UFC would be able to take him back. There's no way.
Pre-sale, post-sale. Post-sale, the UFC is doing strange things.
Yes.
It don't move like that old beast.
Right. That is true.
You never know.
That is true. But I think that in this juncture, at this particular point, just like in other major sports, it is really hard. It is really difficult to come back from this type of transgression.
I agree.
Especially because it was twice. It would be different if it was once. Because, Cristiano Justino is still out there.
But there was only one.
That's what I'm saying. It's just once.
Just once.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's why
I think his people were transgression.
Yes. And I think people were more willing to say, okay, we believe you, we'll take it. But then when it happens twice, now you kind of like,
this is who you are.
This is what it is. And that's why I say, I feel like if he continues, this same pattern of behavior will still continue to happen. Right.
And now, well, ladies and gentlemen, we had to give our thoughts on UFC.
Had to do it.
214. Because that thing was just absolutely crazy. So we're going to move on. But before we do, we're just going to take a short little break. Just hang with us just for a little while. Accept these nice little messages and we'll be getting back at you in a second.
We made it this far because of you, and we need more. If you tuned into Cage Against the Machine podcast via iTunes, we need you to act. Follow us on iTunes, rate us, comment, share with your friends, and post this podcast to your social media. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Cage Against the Machine. This is Dr. J.K. Akins along with my girl, Danielle Cartier.
That's right. We was talking about Daniel Cormier so much.
I know, right? I was like, wait a minute. No.
This is the other DC.
Yes, the other DC. The most important DC.
Oh, he's so sweet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here talking about UFC 215. Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg for the flyweight championship of the world.
And before we go further.
Yes.
The UFC gave Demetrius Johnson so much mess. Except I want to praise Demetrius Johnson. Because shout out to Demetrius, because you did not play this game the other fighters been playing. You say, you know what? Ray Borg has been waiting. I do not want to cause a logjam in my division and cause all this confusion by taking the fake super fight and fighting this dude who's not in the weight class. So respect Demetrius Johnson for respecting Ray Borg and his division enough to push for the UFC to make this fight happen. Respect.
And please tell the public who this fake super fight could have been.
Who was it with? Was it TJ Dillashaw? Or was
it was going to be the winner, either TJ Dillashaw or Cody No Love
Garbrandt, which would have made no sense. So I am so happy, and people give Demetrius so much mess, about all this, what transpired. Except I have nothing but respect for Demetrius because he is one of the few fighters who looked out kind of for the greater good.
Right.
And I hope the fighters in the division and I hope the other fighters who've been in the caught up in that log jam with Conor and all that garbage respect what Demetrius did.
Oh man. If you could hear the conversation that our esteemed producer DeShawn and I had about,
it's a mess.
And you and I will talk about that.
It's a ridiculous mess. So respect for Demetrius.
And so moving on to our first fight.
Yes.
We have one Raging Cajun Johnson versus Ariano Martins.
I think this is Johnson's like second or third time in the UFC. He's been kind of in and out.
Yes, about that.
I recall.
He hails from Canada. I do not remember whether or not he is a part of my hated gym, TriStar.
But he's a Canadian, eh?
Yeah. First of all, I need to get JoJo. She got to get out of there. She has looked like an absolute mess since going over there. And she claims that she feels improvement, but hell, we haven't seen it in the octagon yet. I'm just saying.
Sometimes it take a while, I think, to settle.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And I am going to bank on your positivity.
And you think about all the inactivity. Right. She probably used to being a lot more active. Maybe I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. But something's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, this fight, how do you see it going?
No, I want to see who did you pick?
Well, it's always ladies first. You know me better than that.
You know what? I picked Raging Cajun Johnson. Mm-hmm. I want you to get it done, baby.
Okay.
The stakes is high. You need to make it happen. And I'm trying to be consistent because this is the first time we're going to blog about the fights. So we all wrote up a little thing. And so I picked Johnson because he's evasive. And I think he's going to be faster than Adriano Martins.
Well, I see this fight going one of two ways.
I want to know who you pick first.
Either this fight stops in the first round.
Okay.
Or it ends in a split decision.
And I chose decision.
And I am going to take Martins in a first round KO.
Really?
Yes. Really.
All right. I'm excited.
Like I said, I don't think there will be any in between in this fight. It will either be someone gets smashed or it's going to be close.
Yeah.
It's going to be either or. I am going to take Martins in the first round stoppage.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on to the man they call Luis Enrique, Danielle's guy.
He was talking mess.
Versus Arjan Singh Bulhar, who is a newcomer to the UFC. I believe Bulhar is of Indian descent.
Yes.
But he hails from Canada. Well, obviously, because this event is in Edmonton, so there you have it. All right, so who did you take?
Who did I take? You know what? I got to go back because I actually was reading the bottom of the card first.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
he didn't want to say name.
Well, you know how it is.
So no.
They shift the order of the fights.
But you know what? I picked Martins. I picked the same as you.
Oh, you did?
I knew something was going on. When I looked at it, I said, I picked Johnson. No, I picked Martins too.
Okay.
All right. Now I'm on the right page. So let's go.
All right. So yeah, Luis Enrique versus Arjan Singh Bulhar.
I picked him. I picked Bulhar.
You did?
I did. I said TKO round
You're taking
two.
against your guy, huh?
You know what? He's sexy, but I think he gonna get taken in this fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Dude.
obviously, Inhiki does have the propensity to disappoint.
But he's still pretty. That got nothing to do with it. That's an independent situation.
Yeah. I'll let you have that. He has a propensity to disappoint. That has always been my issue.
he
hasn't
been consistent.
Singh Buhar
Yes.
is a newcomer to the UFC.
Yes.
And you never know how somebody is going to react to the bright lights.
Right.
I do believe that this is the perfect storm for Inhiki to get back on track. I'm going to take Inhiki to win by submission in the second round.
Really?
Yes.
See, I chose Buhar because he's an Olympic wrestling champion.
That he is.
In Canada.
That he is.
And I've
that
seen
is the
some
reason.
of his fights, and he's been kind of on the big stage, except just in Canada.
That is the reason why I am taking Inhiki.
Really?
Because wrestling equals grappling. So I personally do not believe that Buhar will be able to handle Inhiki with the grappling. I've been wrong before.
Okay, because I felt like he has enough diversity in his attack to where he can adjust.
You could totally be right. We'll see what happens.
I'm excited.
Moving on to our next fight, we have one Mitch Danger Zone Clark versus Alex the Spartan White.
Wow. Your tone just said everything. I don't know what's going on with you. Why wasn't there excitement in your voice when you announced the Spartan?
I'll tell you why. Because I see this fight being a complete and total snooze fest.
You think it's going to be boring?
It is going to be boring as hell.
You think it's going to be a lopsided affair? Or you think it's just going to be lackluster?
I'll put it this way. White's only notable victory came at the expense of Artem Lobov. And you know how I feel about Artem Lobov.
Yeah.
I don't believe he belongs in the UFC in the first damn place.
Well, somebody called him out over the weekend, so we're going to see how that goes.
Okay? Clark has been in the running with some of the UFC's elite talent,
Yes.
including Al Iaquinta.
That's right.
Michael Chiesa.
That's right.
I just can't see
Him being taken out by the Spartan.
that Alex White wins this fight. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Right.
I'm going to take Clark by submission in the second round.
Yes.
I just don't see it.
But you know what? Sometimes the UFC gives you like a little present because they know this is your
Wrapped
hometown.
in a little bow.
This is right, wrapped in a little bow. And I feel like this is just loser, go home. And I feel like this is Alex White's farewell fight. And this is their gift to the Canadian audience for the first half of the fights. You know, it's like, here's the easy
Wink,
little
wink.
little
Wink,
decision
wink,
for the homeboy. You
little
know,
side.
that's right. And then the crowd gets up and is like ready for more. And this is closing out your fight, you know, the prelims, and it's going to cause a little excitement. So yes, we both agree. You know, I think this is a mismatch. This is a mismatch fight.
Like I said, Artem Lobov is not UFC talent. And he beat Artem Lobov. Whoop-de-doody.
The Russian Hammer. Do you question the Russian Hammer?
Not only do I question him, but I downright just disregard him.
This is terrible.
You
know they can see you now.
So? Shit, you want to see me in Edmonton too? I'll come up. Don't make a difference. I don't care.
The shame. But yes, we agree. But I do think this is going to be by decision because I do think that Alex White is a tough journeyman fighter. I will give him that. A tough journeyman fighter. Yeah. And I think that he will
beat Artem Lobov.
Yes, and who will have the belt in a local promotion near you soon.
See, not even I went that far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our fight for the early Fight Pass prelims. We are moving on to our SF1 prelims, and our next fight is Gavin Tucker, the Newfoundland Terror, versus Rick Glenn, the Gladiator. Dun, dun, dun.
He say he hate nicknames. Look at him with all that excitement.
The Newfoundland Terror.
Newfoundland?
It's pronounced Newfoundland. It's
You
Canada.
just ain't gonna let it have it.
It's Canada.
It's Canada, eh? No. I should have worn my Canadian jersey. I love Victoria. You have a beautiful country.
Well, I mean, I'm a Toronto guy myself.
You're a Toronto guy?
Oh, yes.
I just came back from, what is this, Victoria.
Okay.
So it was beautiful there.
Okay. Yeah,
I went to Vancouver before, too. It was nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vancouver has a lot of
I
trees.
could totally be a
It's
Canadian. My last name is Cartier. My great-grandfather discovered the St. Lawrence River in Canada.
Which is why you should
I should know
be
French.
in the Quebec.
That's right.
In the Quebec province, you know where.
I see.
Where Toronto is.
That's right. I did take a picture when I went to Canada.
Toronto is a beautiful city.
And see, I haven't been there yet.
Oh, God.
Perhaps that's my next trip.
Well,
I'll check
then
out
again,
Toronto.
now that I'm thinking about it, maybe not.
Maybe I should go to Newfoundland
Maybe.
and look up the terror.
Maybe. Because I now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of like, man, Toronto is kind of more of a city for guys like me.
We're gonna let that all go. So who do you have picking winning this fight?
You know what? We'll let you go first, ladies first on this one.
He be hiding. I don't know what's up with him.
I'm not hiding. You know you're gonna hear it sooner or later.
But you know what? I really am excited about this fight because I think Gavin Tucker, he performed great in his last fight. He's exciting. That's why I'm excited that he's on this card. That's why I say when you really look at the quality of this card, it's really good.
Right.
You know, we lost a few people, except the quality remained. This is still a very exciting card.
Right.
Even with the few losses that it had.
Right.
They didn't lose much.
Well, just one fight.
Yeah.
Just one fight.
But I think,
which was, for the record, was Junior Dos Santos versus Francis Ngannou, who is a fellow African, I might add. Junior Dos Santos was pulled from the card because of a USADA violation. Dun, dun, dun!
Yes. But we will withhold judgment.
Right. So back to this fight. Gavin Tucker versus Rick Glenn.
Yes, I'm very excited about Gavin Tucker, and I have picked him to win.
Okay.
Let me tell you by how. As soon as my thing comes up. So I picked him to win by sub in round 2.
Now that's interesting because Tucker is the better grappler.
We'll see.
There's no question about that in my mind.
Right.
Glenn is the better striker.
Right.
And in that regard, it's not even close. Classic grappler versus striker matchup, but the fight starts on the feet.
Okay, so that's telling me who you picked.
So I am going to take Rick Glenn in a spectacular finish in the first round.
That's crazy.
I am going to take him.
All right.
I mean, besides the fact that, I just feel like the O has got to go. And I think Rick Glenn is going to be the one who takes the O.
I don't think so.
All right, we are moving on to our next fight. Our next fight is going to be Sarah Moras
Cheesecake
versus Ashley
Smash
Evans Smith.
She changed her name, but yeah.
And I gotta tell
she
y'all.
changed it to Rebel Girl.
I gotta tell y'all, if y'all see a picture of Ashley Evans Smith, that woman looked like a thug. She looked like she could take somebody in an alley and just put them fools down.
I thought he was gonna say sexy, but he just straight went like called you a thug.
I said she looked like a thug, but I bet the woman can fight.
Well, yeah, she could fight, and she beat up who was that chick? You know, with all the controversy back in the day, the transgendered girl.
Oh.
Her name's on the tip of my tongue. Yes.
Fallon Fox.
Back in the day, she KO'd her. So.
Gave it to her.
That's right. So, she got a little power in her punches. Word up.
More than a little bit.
Word up. But I want to hear who you pick because I've been going twice. So you gotta let me know. Let's see if we agree.
This is where I struggled when I because I don't know who Moras is. I haven't seen enough of her.
Okay.
I haven't seen enough of her to really feel out
who she is as a fighter.
And I think she's still figuring that out.
Okay.
Which kind of proves how talented she is.
Right.
You know, because when you can be at this level and you're still trying to figure out who you are as a fighter while being at this level, I think that's a testament to what kind of fighter you actually are.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, Sarah Morris was on The Ultimate Fighter, season 18, Ronda Rousey versus Miesha Tate.
Right.
She was on Team Tate, and she had her first fight at one of the tough finales against the Sexy Zebra or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she won, even though it was a little bit controversial. But she did win that fight, and then she went on to fight, who's that girl? The little short one? Jessica Andrade?
Oh, Andrade.
Yes, and she lost in spectacular fashion. But, you know.
Well, Andrade is just a bull.
That's right. And I mean, so she's had a little bit of a layoff.
Right.
But her body looks great, because before she was, it was a little different. And so this tells me that she's been really working out. She's been getting in shape. She probably been doing a lot of training.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about this fight because, one, I know she's super aggressive. Mm-hmm. She's super aggressive. She's good on the ground. She's hopefully her stand-up has improved, because basically this is like, people love these. And I think maybe this speaks a little bit to our matchmakers, because these matches aren't really super sophisticated.
Right.
They're pretty typical. Grappler versus, striker.
This is where my issue with this fight was. Moras, I have no idea who she is as a fighter. I don't think she knows.
Well, I think she's evolving. She hasn't got the show.
Ashley Evans Smith is wildly inconsistent.
Yes. Well, I mean,
not just from fight to fight, but from round to round.
Yes.
It's like when you watch Evans Smith, you start to wonder who she's going to be from round to round.
Yeah.
Because I've seen fights of hers in which she looks completely different from round 1 than she did to round 2. And then from 2 to 3, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this fight is going to transpire.
But
with that being said, I am going to take Evan Smith in a decision.
Okay. And I mean, this is why this fight is exciting to me, because I kind of like the unpredictability of Ashley Evans Smith, because you never know what you're going to get.
Sure.
But it makes it difficult to predict.
Sure.
But it's very fun to watch. And I think this is why this fight is intriguing, because you have a question mark, because you really haven't got to see a lot of Sarah.
Morris, yeah.
That's right, in the cage. And so now you get to see, well, where is she at in her training? Where is she at in her evolution?
And now she's in the octagon on the big stage in her home country.
That's right. And that's why this could be an opportunity for vindication for her, because she didn't perform so well during her last fight.
Right.
So, I mean, the stakes are probably high for her, and she probably knows, she's not like the other women in UFC. She kind of got, she's low on the totem pole, so this may be lose or go home.
Right.
So with that being said, I did choose Ashley Evans Smith only because she's been more active in the last couple years.
Okay. Moving on to our next fight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fight in which I have to say I have no idea where the hell this is going to go. We have Henry Cejudo versus one Vilson Hayes.
I miss those gold shorts that Cejudo used to get to wear. They were super fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for those of you who do not know, this is a possible number 1 contendership fight for the flyweight championship. Now, keep in mind, Henry Cejudo was absolutely blasted by Demetrius Johnson.
That's why I don't know why this is the number 1 contender spot.
Because there's nowhere else for it to go.
This
the only
terrible.
person in the top 10 who has not fought Demetrius Johnson already is Sergio Pettis. And it's clear that he's not ready for a title shot yet. So, and obviously we know that Vilson Hayes lost to Demetrius Johnson in a 5-round fight in which it was never close.
Like 5 minutes ago?
It was never close.
I think it was like 15 minutes ago he lost to him.
So,
like, this is literally his next fight after losing the title shot. Isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Because that was 5 minutes ago. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I literally have no idea.
And has Henry Cejudo fought since he lost?
I want to say no.
So, literally, the last man to beat both of these guys is Demetrius Johnson, is the headliner for the event.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Adds a whole lot of intrigue. Yes. So I'm wondering, where do both fighters go from here? Because, I mean, what's left? After you get absolutely blasted by the champion.
Yeah.
I mean, John Dotson figured it out, right?
Yes.
He got pasted by the champ twice, and he was like, okay, I'm going up to 135.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm done. He was like, I'm done. I'll never get another title shot anyway, so let me go.
Yeah.
So both of these fighters are in the same kind of
boat.
boat.
Now, I mean,
they both lost to Demetrius convincingly, right?
Right. But I do feel
But
like
this matchup by itself is an interesting one.
You think it is interesting?
I mean, in terms of how close they are matched wise.
Okay. I want to know who you picked based on that.
I took
statement.
Cejudo by decision, but I think it's going to be a split decision.
You think
I
so?
do not see this fight. I see this fight as an extremely close one. I personally believe what makes this fight interesting is that because Wilson Hayes is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but you never really get to see it.
No.
It's kind of weird because just like Jose Aldo, his jiu-jitsu is used as a weapon, so nobody actually even tries to even take the fight to the ground with him.
Right.
And with Jose Aldo, it was kind of the same thing. Wilson Hayes works in that same way.
Right.
The issue is that, well, Cejudo's an Olympic medalist in
Yeah,
wrestling.
and I don't think that little black belt is gonna dissuade.
She said little black
Well,
belt.
I'm saying in this case, I don't think, and I say that
She
because
said your black belt is so puny.
No, I say that because I don't think that
It can wrap around an ant's thorax once.
I say that because I don't think that Henry Cejudo is gonna have much respect for that black belt.
I agree.
I think that that's gonna mean nothing. And I think that he's
agree.
going to take you down repeatedly and pretty much control you on the ground.
Okay.
I don't really see you going for a lot of submissions. I see there being some scrambles, and I think that Henry Cejudo is going to end up on top.
However,
and dominate.
With Wilson Hayes, you do have to be careful because the dude is sneaky on the ground.
He's sneaky, but I don't.
You can think that you have control, and then all of a sudden an omoplata comes out of nowhere.
And then I think that he'll escape it. But I mean, we're going to find out. But I have chosen Henry Cejudo by decision, and I do think it's going to be unanimous. And I think that he may even hurt Wilson Hayes during the fight and maybe come close to finishing, maybe close to the bell, maybe even get a squeaking TKO. But we'll see.
All right, moving on to our next fight. Sarah McMahon
Ooh-wee.
versus Caitlin Vieira.
Ooh-wee. What you feel about this? Ooh-wee.
This is another...
Have you seen her fight before?
Yes, I have.
This chick right here?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah.
Caitlin Vieira. Yes. This is another striker versus grappler matchup.
Well, that's why I said the matchmakers aren't terribly, We'll just say that.
Okay.
They aren't terribly,
Okay.
sophisticated. Let's just say that.
All right. So, have you seen Vieira fight before?
I did. I watched a couple of her fights, and I'm short of being super impressed because I feel like her performances, although dominant, were sloppy.
That's a very valid point, and I think the reason why she's so sloppy is because she is that good of a striker.
But I do think that she will have success on the level that she's had success, except I do not see her going further without cleaning up and having better technique.
Right. Now, to your point, and I know that this is going to be an extreme platform to put it on, but just kind of follow me, because I'm just trying to make an analogy, not trying to put her on this platform.
Okay.
I think Caitlin Vieira, the reason why she is so sloppy, it's kind of like Anderson Silva.
Okay.
When you know you're that good, you feel like you can get away with some things that some other fighters wouldn't.
So you kind of be a little bit reckless because you're like,
Yeah, I think she goes into the octagon feeling like I'm not gonna get clipped.
Right.
I'm not going to get clipped, so I'm going to take some stupid, weird angle, and then here comes a kick out of nowhere, and you're going to taste it, and you're going to taste this shin to your chin.
Right.
Like, I literally feel like that is the attitude that she walks into the octagon with.
Supreme confidence.
Exactly.
But that's nice.
The problem is that at this level,
you can't.
Is that really smart?
Yeah. But you'll learn.
Because, I mean, it even caught up to Anderson Silva.
Yeah, but you know what? That's what makes exciting fights. This is why she's closing the prelims. This is why she's in the UFC. That's why she has opportunity, because she's exciting and she takes chances.
Absolutely.
So it's like, is it fun? Yes. Will you be victorious for long? Probably no.
Now, here's the interesting thing about Vera for me. Now, even though I compared her to Anderson Silva in terms of the chances that she likes to take, she's very close to Anthony Pettis. In terms of what she does stylistically.
Right.
So you have to be careful, because it could be something that you've never seen before in the octagon.
Something that you don't anticipate.
Exactly. So you have to really be careful. With that being said, I think that Sarah McMahon is going to go in on that good old-fashioned
go ahead and say
double leg takedown, slam her to the ground, and ground her, pound her in the second.
Yeah. And I mean, people underestimate Sarah, because I know primarily, people think about her history in Olympic wrestling and all this kind of stuff.
And not only that, but now let's put a personal touch on it, right? The struggle that Sarah McMahon has been through with her former husband and everything.
He's going there, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I just mean that in terms of the sadness that you have to intake in that type of traumatic type of experience.
Yes.
Those things, and I'm speaking for myself now.
Okay.
Those type of things can take a toll on you, and it shapes you into becoming a different person that you didn't necessarily anticipate.
Right. So
Those
you think
type
that
of
she's gonna
experiences shape you.
Right.
And,
but I'm sure.
And what I mean by that, is they can either define you positively,
that's right,
or negatively.
That's right.
In Sarah McMahon's case, it's been positive.
That's right. She's chosen to channel that energy in a positive direction. But I was saying, Sarah McMahon, people underestimate her striking, because she's she hits very hard.
She does.
Yeah, you could see that, just by watching. Like, she's got really strong punches.
Her arms are built like Tonka trucks.
That's right. She's very well built.
Remember the old school Tonka trucks, the big yellow ones, the dump trucks that the boys used to play with?
So yeah. I think Sarah McMahon, she's gonna win in dominating fashion. I see her dominating this fight, and she'll be victorious. And hopefully this will move her up, and they'll be announcing her a title fight soon. She deserves it.
I agree. But like I said, with Vera, you have to be careful, because you could get clipped.
It's gonna be a fun fight either way.
So Sarah McMahon is gonna have to take her down soon in order to kind of bridge the gap in there
and not allow the fight to get away from her. Yes,
exactly. So that is our FS1 prelims, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take a short break and come back with our main card. This is UFC 215, Johnson versus Borg, flyweight title. Get at your boy. You are listening to Cage Against the Machine, and this is J.K. Akins. If you like what you're hearing, give us a holla by rating, liking, following on iTunes or SoundCloud. This is Cage Against the Machine. Get at us. Chill. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Cage Against the Machine. I am J.K. Akins, along with Danielle Cartier.
Sup?
The infamous Boogie in the house. And this is the main card for UFC 215.
That's right.
Johnson versus Borg, flyweight championship. And in our first fight on the main card, we have two fighters stuck in limbo.
This is the one I've been waiting to hear you talk about.
Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens versus Gilbert
El nickname.
Nino
Oh yeah, I forgot El
Melendez, who happens to
long.
actually be right down the street from our recording studio.
That's right. Shout out.
the El Nino Training Center. Who had
Scrap Pack.
Right. And a lot of those fighters have been very good to us.
What is this? Cavill, y'all's girl?
What'd you say?
I said Cavill, y'all's girl.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I'm with Cynthia Cavill.
I'm waiting.
That's for sure.
I'm waiting. I feel like this is what's his name? You better get on the bus. Better get on the train. Better get on the train.
No.
There'll still be room later, I hope,
I mean, I'm down with Cynthia Cavill.
I know you are. You was down from the first fight. The first prediction, you was down. You was
down.
sold.
The girl
He got a
is
sold sticker on him. Boom.
The girl is just a show woman.
I'm waiting. It's going I'm waiting for that fight.
We all know our executive producer, DeShawn Davis, he loves the showmanship.
That's what I'm saying.
He's all about it.
I'm waiting. But I'm waiting.
But in this fight, we have two veterans in the UFC.
Okay.
Stuck in absolute limbo.
Yeah. I want to hear
Jeremy Little Human Stevens.
Yeah.
Gilbert El Nino Melendez.
Yeah. Who I feel like just can't quite shake that
suspension.
And I feel like he got a chip on his shoulder. Because, he came from Strikeforce and he was like the big dog in Strikeforce. He was the big fish. The pond was minimum to small. Mm-hmm. And he was used to eating. Mm-hmm. He was used to eating.
And then he stepped up into the big fish with the big pond.
We always had this debate when I talked to people who love Strikeforce. And I kept telling them, I said, the big fish are small guppies in the UFC.
Exactly.
They can't eat like they eat
with the
here.
exception of Tyron Woodley and Daniel Cormier.
There's been very few
but
who
that's
crossed
it.
over.
But that's it, really.
And I had no doubt that they would be all right. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
The ones who I had doubt about ain't doing
fell
so
flat
good.
on their face.
And I feel like Gilbert is one of those people.
I completely concur.
To where even when I would watch his fights in Strikeforce and I would question a few things, and I was like, I don't know if he can make it in UFC because when there's blood in the water, he have a tendency to hesitate.
Well,
he's just not a killer at
heart.
What?
I'm just gonna be a little bit more candid than that. I'm just gonna be a little bit more candid than that. When I saw him in Strikeforce, and I must have watched about maybe 5 or 6 straight fights.
Yeah.
And I just said, nah.
He just ain't that dude.
I just said, nah.
He just ain't that dude.
Nah.
It's bad. And I feel
especially not at it's just like you said,
level.
It's this level.
And you know what's funny? Because I looked at this fight and I said, this is hilarious because I feel like Jeremy Heathen Stevens is the fighter that Gilbert Melendez wants to be. Ooh. I will go big and say that. I feel like he's the striker and he has the tenacity and he has the aggression that Gilbert wants.
You went there.
I'm just saying. He's
Yikes.
that dude.
Yikes.
That he wants to be. And it's difficult when you're not that guy. So now here's your opportunity to prove that you're that guy.
But in all fairness.
And hopefully you ain't going to cheat to get this one.
Just to look at it from the other side, right? In all fairness.
There's another side?
Yeah. Is Jeremy Stevens really that dude?
In this fight, he's going to be that guy. In this fight, he's that guy. Because, you forget, Jeremy Stevens, they didn't give him opportunity, but the people don't want to engage him. And unfortunately, Jeremy don't really kind of have that super high fight IQ to make adjustments.
That is true.
And change styles. He's very much one single-minded. And so this fight puts him where he needs to be, where he wants to be. Now, this is where I see Gilbert having the advantage. Mm-hmm. Because Gilbert is a striker in his mind. He feels like, I'm a beast. I'm a killer. I'm that Mexican fighter who wants to go out there and get blood. But it's not in his heart. He's not that dude. But you know what Gilbert is? Mm-hmm. Gilbert is, I can take you down. But I can take you down.
And let's be fair, right? Let's be fair. Gilbert is also durable.
That's right. And so he have a few things that is...
because how many times has he really been finished in his career? Not many.
That's right. And so that's why I'm just like, if Gilbert fights smart with his head and not with who he wants to be in his mind, he can win this fight. But will he? Because his ego is bigger than what's going on. How about that?
Okay, and that's fair.
Yes.
I'm just going to say this. Me personally, I fail to see the point of this matchup in the grander scheme of things.
It's just a fun, like, beat 'em up fight.
Yeah, I mean,
It don't mean nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, because we have two fighters that, albeit are in the top 10,
Right.
they're stuck in limbo.
Yeah.
Because now they're in the Irishman ruled 155 pound
They're just
division.
caught in the logjam. They are.
Who's dodging Habib Nurmagomedov, but that's neither here nor there.
But you know, I do think that this adds clarity. Because
Okay.
let's say that Jeremy Stevens is able to KO Gilbert,
Okay.
which probably will happen.
Okay.
Because technically Gilbert does have a resume. And his resume was that he was the former Strikeforce champion.
Right.
And he was dominant for a lot of years.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's a good name to have on your resume, even if, you know, it's debatable how much that name holds. You see what I'm saying? But it's
then my
still a
question is
name.
you.
And so then you
Right.
kind of can be like, you know, you maybe can get a little pump up, a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to the next.
Then my question to you
Number.
is this. My question to you is this. Once one of these fighters wins this fight, does it get them a fight with a Tony Ferguson?
No. Well, I mean, it doesn't get Gilbert anything because Gilbert cheated. So this just gets him like, okay, can I actually make it in the UFC without cheating? So this kind of gives him some vindication. But all of us is going to be waiting on the USADA results. Let's be real.
And it's funny
Let's
that
be
you say
honest.
that. It's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Because Jeremy Stevens has no breaks in his career. Gilbert Melendez has been suspended for
That's
a
right.
year. And that, I feel, is the difference in this matchup. I am taking Stevens by a decision.
Oh, see, you are wonderful because you think it's actually going to be competitive.
No, I'm just saying that Gilbert Melendez has a propensity to have
to be durable.
He has a chin.
And it's true. And so I am taking Stevens by wonderful TKO in round 3 because I do agree with you, but I think Jeremy has the ability to finish the fight sooner.
He does. He does have the ability to finish the fight sooner, but the only way that you could really finish Melendez is by cutting him bad and hoping that the doctor stops it. I just don't see Stevens KOing him.
But I see Stevens having more well-rounded attack because you forget he KO'd somebody with flying knee. Gilbert
true.
ain't doing no flying knees.
That's true. That is true.
Except Gilbert has the opportunity. He could go down and submit.
All right. Well, there you have it. Moving on to our next fight. Alir Latifi versus Tyson Pedro. Danielle.
This fight is just bizarre. But, I mean, I understand because, I mean, at the end of the day, IR is number 10. This is the only way this fight makes any sense. And, I mean, if I'm...
This is the light heavyweight division, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. And if I am Pedro's manager, I'm like looking at all the competition and I'm saying we gonna take out number 10 because this is an easy win for us. You are huge and he's little.
Now, well...
Sometimes size does matter.
Latifi ain't
He's
little.
wide, but you know what I'm
Latifi
saying.
is not little. They
But
call that dude the sledgehammer for
They
a reason.
do. They do.
That brother looked like... That man looked like he got put together. That man looked like he was constructed.
And that's why I'm saying I'm excited about this fight. I want to see what happens because I mean, we know IR could take down anybody.
See, here's the thing. I love Tyson Pedro's potential.
Yes.
I love it. I have watched this kid can fight.
But this is when the rubber hits the road.
I just think this is too much too soon.
You think so?
I do.
Well, I'm excited. That's why I'm like, this is why these fights have to happen because it's like, eventually, are you gonna have? Does the potential translate into talent?
Yes.
Like, does it actually happen?
And Tyson Pedro
this is the test.
make no bones about it. Tyson Pedro is an extremely talented young fighter in the UFC. And I believe personally that he will be a title contender.
But you don't think this is
But
the
I'm
fight?
thinking that in this particular fight, this is the fight that he loses and learns from to become that title contender.
And see, I have taken the different point of view.
Okay.
I say that he wins this fight,
Okay.
and it proves that not only does he have potential, but he has the talent and he can perform when the stakes are high.
Then my question to you would be this. Because if he beats Latifi, you know what that means.
Yes.
That means Gustafsson would probably be next.
Well, I've written him out a path. So I say he's going to win by a first round KO.
Okay.
He's going to move into the top 10. His next fight should be against Corey Anderson or OSP. This is on video.
Wow.
Sean Shelby hashtag.
Danielle should be the real matchmaker.
I'll be tweeting that junk.
Moving on to our next fight. Rafael Dos Anjos, the former 155-pound champion, now fighting at 170.
Man, for like 5 minutes.
Against Neil Magny of Team Elevation.
Now, let me just say how much respect I have for Neil Magny.
Please
He's
do.
got to be the most patient man in the UFC.
Why
the
is
most
that?
patient man.
Why is that?
Because Neil Magny went on some ridiculous fight streak.
Yeah.
Had to be like 8 or 9 or something crazy.
Well, he actually fought. He actually has the record in the UFC for most fights in a year, which is 6.
Except I know he went on a crazy fight streak. That's how you could tell. The UFC don't have no respect for fight streaks, truly. It's like if you can't open your mouth and you can't be that guy, the UFC won't respect your record and they will not give you a title shot. Neil Magny
sounds familiar.
Got to become more charismatic.
I think I heard our executive producer saying this same thing prior to this recording.
You know, unfortunately, this is a business and people go into business to make money.
Boy.
And if you aren't that guy,
listen to this.
Guy.
It's like I'm stuck in between twins.
Well, you know, because everybody understands the language of commerce. This is the United States of America. We are a bunch of greedy pigs. And unfortunately, if you can't make the UFC money, and I mean, unfortunately, Neil Magny has been humble. He's a nice guy. You know, he reminds me a lot of...
He's one of
Max Holloway.
One of the all-around
right.
good guys in mixed martial arts.
You know what you got to do? It's just
by the way, so is Rafael Dos Anjos.
That's right. He's very nice. I met Rafael. He's very nice.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, but it's just like until Max Holloway realized that no one is going to toot your horn if you don't toot it. All of a sudden, Max started being vocal. I've been winning fights. I'm ready. Neil Magny needs to do the same thing. I don't know who his manager is, but you should fire a dude and you should get somebody who's going to give you some PR training and who's going to make you into that guy, because you're going to be sitting around. You're going to be just like Ivan Salivar. I remember I used to watch UFC all the time. He used to win all the time. He never got a title shot the whole time he was competing in the UFC.
True.
Now he has a gym up in Washington State. Nice. Like, he was my favorite fighter forever. And I kept wondering, how come this guy keeps winning? They don't give him a title shot. I feel Neil Magny is going to be that guy. And you don't want to keep being the guy that the other guy beats and gets the title shot. You need to open your mouth and you need to create your opportunity. Do it for your fans if you can't do it for yourself.
With that being said,
watch I pick the other guy. No.
Well, while we're waiting on Danielle, I will say this. Dos Anjos clearly is the better striker between the two. And I love Dos Anjos at 170. I feel like this is definitely the weight class for him.
And he's had a fight at 170, right?
Yes.
He has.
Yes. With that being said, though, he is now on the backside of his career. And I personally feel...
Why you say that?
Fork...
Is it just because of the age?
I personally believe that fork is moving closer.
He didn't turn you into a weenie sausage.
It's moving closer. He's not quite done. But the chef is looking for that fork.
He cold-blooded right now.
I'm just being honest.
So I take it you picked Dos Anjos?
Dos Anjos, I will say this. Dos Anjos must win this fight to stay in the UFC.
You think it's that serious?
Absolutely.
You mean as a contender?
As a contender, yes.
As absolutely. A body, he's good.
Huh?
They'll keep him on the roster.
Yeah, they'll keep him on the roster, but let's face it, he's 38 years old.
Oh, I see what you're saying. He's a little bit older.
Yes. So, with that being said, I am taking Neil Magny to win by decision and place Dos Anjos closer to retirement.
So, we agree. I picked Neil Magny to win by decision, but I think this is going to be a tough fight for Neil Magny.
Absolutely. There's
Yes.
no question. Which is why I took him by decision.
Right. And I mean, I really want to see
However,
Neil Magny move to that next level because I feel like
However.
he's at the apex. Like, I want to see him cross over and do something and really show that he has that star potential, not just survive fights.
However, I will not be shocked if Dos Anjos knocks him out.
We both won't.
I will not be
both won't.
surprised. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and we are going to come to you with our main and co-main event for UFC 215. I am J.K. Akins with Danielle Cartier. This is Cage Against the Machine. DeShawn in the background. Get hollered.
Cage Cousins, how you doing? This is Sweet, co-founder of Cage Against the Machine. For a year or so, we've just been bringing you content, trying to show you the things that we care about when we watch fights, especially UFC fights. You probably heard us alluding to this app. I won't say that it's completely ready, but it is ready for you, and you should check it out. So, go to cageagainst.com, click on Fantasy, sign up. And one of the coolest things that we're really excited about is, aside from challenging your friends at each and every UFC event, you can also really kind of put your money where your mouth is. You could challenge your friend for a beer. For example, DeShawn Davis, super producer, he made the mistake of telling me that a certain fighter was going to win. I told him it wasn't going to happen. I challenged him, and he paid for my beer all night. It was wonderful. If he keeps challenging me, he's probably going to end up paying all my parking tickets. This is just a wonderful thing that we keep doing. But we don't want to be selfish. We want you to be a part of this. Again, go to cageagainst.com, click on Fantasy, sign up for the app, join the conversation. We'll see you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is Cage Against the Machine. I am J.K. Akins with Daniel Cartier and DeShawn Davis of Dream Ear Productions, making it sound so melodic.
Mm-hmm.
And we are here, Danielle.
Finally.
We are here.
The moment we've been waiting for.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Valentina Shevchenko,
the Bullet,
is taking on Amanda Nunes
the
for
Lioness.
the 135-pound women's championship.
I don't care what Amanda Nunes says. She's the Lioness of the Ring. I'm going to throw back her Strikeforce name. Back in the day when she was on Challengers. She was the Lioness of the Ring.
She took it there.
That was sexy. I could just see her with that little stool and the whip and junk. That's clean. You don't think so? It was a whole visual for me.
I can see that.
Yes. That's what I mean. Because they were like of the ring. So then you start thinking of a lion tamer. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a rematch from their March 5th of 2016 battle.
We've actually had this conversation before.
We have. Both of these fighters are completely different.
And this fight was supposed to happen at UFC, what was it, 213 or 212?
Was it 212 or 213?
I know it was like one fight between. So it had to be 212 or 213.
Either way, Amanda Nunes was diagnosed with stenitis and she couldn't breathe.
Right.
So they had to pull the fight, and she had to get the stenitis corrected surgically.
And this was the day before or the day of?
This was the day. This was the moments after the weigh-in.
Right. So, yes. And this is her punishment fight, according to her. And I think according to the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
You are on the naughty list.
However, for somebody who has had to deal with stenitis,
yes,
that ain't nothing to joke with.
Right.
She did the right thing.
Sure.
She did the right thing.
There are a lot of people who understand and empathize.
If you end up with stenitis and then your nose gets broken, oh boy.
And I understand
we're talking about something completely different.
Her first issue with it, she's struggled with it before.
Exactly.
So
could you imagine going into a fight with stenitis and then your nose gets broken?
Well, let's just say all the issues have been cleared and this fight is happening. So, we've had this conversation before.
We definitely have.
What has changed in your mind? Or has anything changed? Are the results still the same from the last time we had this conversation? The first time the rematch was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's changed too much because both of these like I said before, both of these fighters are completely different. So I'm not really sure.
You talking about their evolution from the last fight they had?
Definitely.
Which I think Shevchenko was Juliana Pena. Mm-hmm. Or actually, what was it? It was actually the title match between her and Nunes.
Right.
So, they're neither one of them taking a fight since then.
Right.
So we've been waiting for them to fight each other since then.
I'm trying to find a reason for this fight to go differently than it did the first time. Although both fighters are completely different, they are both on a whole nother level than they were in that first fight. They have both evolved immensely since then. But with that being said, I'm struggling to find a reason why this fight would go much different.
Well, see, we have different opinions.
Of course.
Because I'm taking that. I'm assuming that you're picking Nunes. Are you picking her by decision?
I am.
And I saw what probably Shevchenko saw during their last meeting. And that was the fact. And really, in Amanda's fight kind of history, because Amanda Nunes is a quick finisher. And she had this problem back in Strikeforce. I was the same. She's very, very consistent throughout her career, actually. Like when you go back and look at her fights. She's super consistent. She's a quick finisher. You know? She suffered from cyborg syndrome. Like, let's go in there, blow the wad, and finish quick. But then that becomes an issue when you having 5-round fights. Because now you have to deal with championship rounds. So you have to kind of be, conservative. You have to expend your energy. You have to be efficient. And so I think if Amanda hasn't learned how to be efficient, then this is going to be an issue. Because during her first fight with Shevchenko, you see that she wasn't really efficient in her energy usage. And so I think around the third round, she started to get tired. And that's when Shevchenko was like, okay, here's my opportunity. Do I think that the same thing will happen? Yes. Do I think that Shevchenko is banking on that? Yes. Do I think that this time she'll be able to capitalize? Yes. So my whole thing is when I watch this fight, I want to see how efficient that she's being in the first 2 rounds. Because if I feel like she's being efficient in the first 2 rounds and she's, utilizing her energy and she's reserving her gas tank, then I believe that she'll be successful. If I see her doing the same old stuff that she's been doing since the beginning of her career, do I think that she'll be successful? No, I do not think so. And I think that's what gives Shevchenko so much confidence because she has a lot of history. And cardio is not an easy thing to build overnight. Even if you're off a couple months, plus you got the issue with your nose and all this stuff. Now, it could be debatable that because she might have had this issue for a long time and not known, and it could have had an effect on her cardio. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of questions. You talk about X and algebra. There's a lot of X factors in this fight. So I'm excited to see how this fight is going to play out. But who have I picked? I picked Valentino Shevchenko for the new women's bantamweight championship. I think she's going to be the winner. But I'm excited to watch.
I'm going to be extremely candid here. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I state this part, I am going to put in a disclaimer. This is not necessarily the opinion of Cage Against the Machine or any of its affiliates. This is one simply that of J.K. Akins. I personally think that is what everybody is hoping for Shevchenko to win.
Oh, you think so? Now, this is interesting. I want to hear where you go. I'm excited. I'm hoping that you aren't going to go there.
You know where I'm going.
Well, if you think about it.
The bottom line is we are now in the day and age of so-called marketability.
Yeah.
And people find Shevchenko to be marketable.
That's right.
Amanda Nunes, although a tremendous fighter, is seen as less than. And then the color of her skin doesn't help either.
Plus, she's part of the alternative.
Mm-hmm. So with all of that being said, I think that Shevchenko winning is what the promotion is her hoping for.
I mean, it'll probably be a plus for them. Plus, she probably has a lot of fan base, and you forget everything's about emerging markets. So now you have an opportunity to go over to, where's she from? Russia?
She is from Russia.
And they haven't had any fights.
However,
have they had any fights in Russia?
No.
So, I mean, that could be an emerging market. It's a new opportunity for them.
Right.
Where, I mean, they've been to Brazil, been there, done that. Mm-hmm. There's, you know.
Well, with all that being said, I am going to stick with my pick of Nunes. But I'm pretty sure that
the UFC will look at it as a win if
exactly.
the bullet gets it done.
Exactly.
But I mean, plus she has sisters. So, I mean, you know, they may cross over.
Exactly. With that being said, moving on to the main event
of the
evening. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at 126.5 pounds.
You can't mess this up.
Coming out of the Jackson Winklejohn Gym
in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The challenger, Ray, the Tex-Mexican Devil Borg.
You get a C+.
Versus the champion, fighting out of the red corner.
This man stands
5'3", weighing in at 125 pounds, and is going for the UFC all-time record of title defenses. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending UFC Fly Champion of the World, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
He forgot to just say mighty, but that's okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You get a C. Come on, you get a C. That's pretty good. C+.
Damn, she said I'm pretty good and I get a C+.
You get a C+.
Damn. It's because I'm black, isn't it?
No. You just miss those little nuances, you know, but it's good. It's good.
Well, you know, you got to put your own flair on it.
That's true.
I can't be Bruce Buffer.
No.
I got to be J.K. Akins.
No, yes, and at least you didn't say, "Are you ready? Put your hands together."
No.
Yeah, so it was pretty good.
No.
It was nice. So now that we've made it to the main event,
yes,
Demetrius Johnson. I feel like album number 10. I feel like we're talking about Too Short. No.
Damn.
No, but you know, here it is. Title defense. Was it? Is it number 10?
This will be number 11.
Okay, title defense is number 11.
We're talking literal mixed martial arts history.
Yes. And so, how do you feel? How does this cement, or does it even cement
This doesn't
Demetrius
even matter
in like the UFC Hall of Fame? Is he a Hall of Famer?
He is a shoe-in, hands down, Hall of Famer, no matter what happens in this fight.
I think so. I think if you have they do have a Living Legends division, and I think Demetrius, once he secures his title, shot number 11, he should be in the Living Legends division.
I mean,
and that should be how they market him, because right now the UFC is has a question mark when it comes to Demetrius Johnson. So I think they need to help themselves.
Question mark.
That's right. They need to help themselves out, and they need to put him when they have the next, fan expo. They need to go ahead and put him into the UFC Living Legends division, and then maybe they can bump up the tickets and say Living Legend Demetrius Johnson. That's when you can really set up those super fights, because now you have people who is in your Living Legends Hall of Fame.
And the bottom line is, as far as I am concerned, Demetrius Johnson is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time.
You would have to put him up there. He's been so dominant. Every performance.
And the
And
thing
he
is,
continues to evolve. Not
Right,
only is he like
exactly,
GSP, who's like, I'm going to lay and
exactly.
pray and squeak out the decision every single time, and why put myself at risk and blah, blah.
he sits up here and he finishes fights.
That's right.
We've seen this man finish fights with no time on the clock in the 5th round.
That's right. So at this point, he's not even fighting his opponents. He's just fighting himself. Like
Yes,
he's
he's trying to improve
right.
each and every time.
He's
What can I
applying new
change?
technique, and he's doing all different type of stuff to where, the opponent is just another person, just another body.
Demetrius Johnson is the reason why I call Matt Hume the greatest mixed martial arts trainer of all time.
He is a hidden gem.
Everybody focuses on Greg Jackson.
That's right.
But I personally believe that Matt Hume is the best to ever do it.
It's amazing.
Matt Hume is mixed martial arts version of Freddie Roach.
But then I do think that he did what our good friend Edmonton couldn't do. It's like he recognized, I have a gem. All I have to do is refine the edges, shine it up, and it will do what it do. I just need to help it. I need to have the skill, and I need to have the direction.
See, that's
to
the
lead.
difference. That's the difference.
And I think that he can take a Ronda Rousey, he can take Demetrius Johnson, and people who are super talented.
DeShawn.
And he can give them direction, and he can lead them where they need to be.
Who does that sound like?
Because, before you talked about Ronda, if she was to choose a new coach, should go.
AMC.
Yes, you kept
Matt
saying
Hume.
it. You did for years and years. And when you really think about it, it would be a good thing because he has the ability to take where you are and give you that other
next nudge.
yes, that you need, and to be him at the part where you're weak and really make you kind of the complete package.
I've had the opportunity to speak with Matt Hume. Mm-hmm. The cerebral approach that he takes to mixed martial arts is like none that I've ever heard. And I've had a lot of conversations in this mixed martial arts game, as have you. Mm-hmm. To me, Matt Hume comes across as probably the most thoughtful coach I have ever had the pleasure of speaking to.
Well, it's wonderful. Because, really, if you look at Greg Jackson, I say the thing Greg Jackson is really good at is if you're a striker. Like, let's say
he can expand on that skill.
He can expand on that skill. And he can say, no matter what, we're going to keep you in your realm. He's very good at keeping.
We are going to stick to your strengths.
That's right.
We are going to sharpen your skills at that strength.
That's right. So we're going to work on your takedown defense, but he makes sure that he keeps the fight where you
are
need
strongest.
it to be. That's right. Except does he make you more well-rounded? Does he do any of that stuff? No. It's like even when Rashad was there, became a champion under Jackson and all that stuff. But did we see Rashad the well-rounded guy while he was there? No,
we didn't see that until he went to the Black Zillions.
That's right. When he went to the Black Zillions, all of a sudden you see Rashad doing stuff that he never did underneath Jackson Winston-John. So that tells me that Rashad became more well-rounded once he left.
100%.
But then he kept the fight where he needed it to be in order for him to be a champion.
Right.
And so that's what Greg Jackson is very good at.
Absolutely.
Strategizing how to keep the fight in a place where you're best at.
Right.
But is he making more well-rounded? Do we see all these things? Do we see the evolution of fighters while they're there?
Right.
No. We don't necessarily see that.
And this element that we're talking about is what makes this fight so interesting because Ray Borg
is from,
you guessed it, Jackson Winklejohn Gym.
And that's why I feel like he's not going to be there because we're going to see the best Ray Borg, and we already know what he has to offer. We already know what he's going to bring.
Right.
And whatever he does to try to keep the fight in that realm, he won't be able to do that because Demetrius is so highly evolved.
Right.
To where it won't work.
Right.
And really, this is more of a coaching fight.
Right.
Than it is.
These are the skills of the actual fighters.
That's right. These are chess pieces.
Right.
Except what we're really watching a combat happen between Greg Jackson and Matt Hume.
Exactly.
At this level and with these two opponents, this is what you're going to see.
Exactly.
You're going to see, a fighter who, came into the camp, and he's made him the best, well-rounded mixed martial artist that he can become
of all time.
And so this is what you can see if you have talent. All you boys and girls out there who aspire to be MMA fighters and all this kind of stuff, pay attention to these things, because I know that everybody's like, oh, but Jackson. But these are the nuances of the fight game. If you want to become a well-rounded mixed martial artist and you want to be good in every area, you may be a great knockout artist. You may be winning amateur fights, knocking people out, but you're weak on the ground. You suck. You got no jiu-jitsu. You need to go to somebody like, and you need to go and you need to get well-rounded, because ultimately this is what's going to win you fights. Because you're going to be so highly evolved. People are going to think, well, he's bad on the ground. You're going to start showing them. And this is what's really happening in the second fight, too. Because you have Shevchenko. What do people think? Oh, she's a stand-up fighter. What did she do? She went in there and surprised the world and submitted Juliana Pena, who's not a terrible, she's not a slouch on the ground.
Juliana Pena is a beast on that ground.
She's a beast on the ground.
And she caught Juliana Pena slipping.
And I was surprised, because I said, well, this is her realm. This is where she wanted to fight. This is where she took the fight. Because she underestimated her opponent. Because
she also saw an opening.
She didn't think that Juliana the evolution would be there. That's right. So, evolution wins fights. You shore up those weaknesses and you become the best mixed martial artist you can be, you become a GOAT.
And here is something that I like to tell people who have no idea who Demetrius Johnson is. Now, our own Brett Sweet and I, we go to the same barbershop. Mm-hmm. And guys in there were talking about...
You go to the same barbershop?
Yes.
What are you doing? Shaving a haircut? I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
2 bits. So... we were discussing, they were talking about how they thought that John Jones was the best that they ever saw. And I said, have you seen Demetrius Johnson? And they were like, no.
Because we only watch John Jones fights. Yeah.
Exactly. So, with that being said, in my opinion, what makes Demetrius Johnson so unique is his innate ability to transition within the snap of a finger.
But see, that's what I'm talking about.
He can go from
IQ.
kickboxing to boxing, from boxing to wrestling, from wrestling to jiu-jitsu, from jiu-jitsu back to kickboxing before you even blink.
Now we talk about like Bruce Lee. He's like water. He has the ability to flow between different fight styles.
Exactly.
That's the next level of mixed martial artists.
His footwork, and even at 5'3", the ability to control the distance.
Yes.
Because when Demetrius Johnson fought John Moraga, remember that fight?
Yes.
The first thing everybody said, is this the fight that Demetrius Johnson loses because John Moraga is so big for
the division?
A 125er.
Right.
And what happened? Demetrius Johnson put the man on the ground and
that's right.
Choked him out.
So, this is amazing because, like, at this point, it defies, like, we're not longer just talking about who wins the fight and all this stuff. We're talking about, the evolution.
Right.
The evolution.
Demetrius Johnson represents what mixed martial arts has become from you and I's early days in mixed martial arts in 1996 up until now. Like, Demetrius Johnson is literally mixed martial arts equivalent to what people believe is the greatest basketball player of all time in Michael Jordan.
Right.
That's who Demetrius Johnson is. Now, I personally believe that Magic Johnson is the greatest player of all time.
But that's neither here nor there. Debatable, yeah.
That's always debatable.
Right.
But in my opinion, if Demetrius Johnson is debated, if this is even a debate, you have no idea what you've been watching.
So then my next question. So Demetrius wins this fight.
Absolutely.
And so
unequivocally.
When does Demetrius get the admiration and the respect of the MMA community, like, say, a John Jones has, who's cheated and who's come back from atrocities? When does he start to get that level of respect?
A quarter past never. He will be long gone from this game before he is fully appreciated.
And what super fight, if he was to take a super fight, who would you want to see him fight realistically? Too bad we can't go outside weight class, but keeping it in the realm of
within
reality.
the weight class?
Yes. Well, I mean, you know.
Within 125?
Yeah, within 125 or
him
up.
going back to 135.
Yeah, 135, 125. And I really don't see Demetrius being super successful at 135. Because, I mean, we've done that.
I actually do.
That's where he got his losses.
Yeah, but it was only to Dominic Cruz.
Yeah. He's a big, huge 135.
And then on top of that, we also have to keep in mind that Demetrius Johnson is nowhere near the fighter then that he is now.
Yeah.
That Demetrius Johnson that was fighting at 135 and only lost to Dominic Cruz by I might add, is a totally different fighter than the one that's in that octagon now.
That's what I said. Who do you want to see him fight?
I would love to see him get a championship fight at 135.
Versus whoever wins?
Versus whoever wins. Do I think that Demetrius Johnson will take that fight? I believe that the answer to that question is yes.
I think it would be more intriguing to watch him fight TJ.
Because that's where the money is going to come from. So I believe that when, and I said it, when he defends this title and beats Ray Borg, the next step, especially because Vilson Hayes and Henry Cejudo are the next guys up.
Yeah, and who cares?
We've been there. We've done that. We saw he ran through both of them like a Mack truck in a brick wall.
Yeah, and I think he'll be more receptive to a super fight once he finishes this fight.
He wanted to capture the legacy.
Yes.
This was about making history.
Yes.
This was not only about giving Ray Borg the fight that he so richly deserved. This was about making history. This was about cementing your name atop the great of the greats who have ever done this.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here.
Because as far as I am concerned, Demetrius Johnson is unquestionably the best to ever do it. That includes Anderson Silva. That includes Randy Couture. That includes
Chuck
Don
Liddell.
Fry, Chuck Liddell. This guy, in my opinion,
BJ
stands
Penn.
above them all.
That's right. We agree. 100%.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our broadcast for 2017. UFC.
Maybe not for the year, but
well, not for the year, but y'all get what I mean.
He being dramatic.
Y'all, you know where I was going. I mean, give me a break here.
Maybe you meant for 215?
Yes, UFC 215.
That's right. You got double title fights.
For Danielle Cartier.
Get it right.
Danielle Cartier. I almost said Cormier.
The other DC.
See, I keep doing that. I don't know what the heck that is.
He's all in Canada land, eh?
Yeah. I am J.K. Akins, and for our executive producer, DeShawn Davis of Dream Ear, we are out. Get at your boy. Chill.